I'm the author Shirley Garrett, and I'm reading the final chapter, number 65. Goodbyes. I've never been skilled at goodbyes. The other divas weren't any better. I loaded my luggage into the van and walked out to the beach to say my farewell to the ocean. I couldn't stand watching my misty-eyed friends cling to their guys like they were emotional life rafts. It caused me to relive those last hours with my dad. My mind returned to that day. The smell of impending death, the feel of his emaciated body through the blue-striped pajamas. Dad's raspy final breaths as he died. The black hearse driving away. Tears rolled down my cheeks. Standing there watching the waves roll in reminded me that life is like the ocean, always moving and changing. It was time to let go of my dad, release his spirit, and only confine his memory. He could no longer be my emotional boy. That's why he named me Phoenix. It was time to rise from the ashes of my torched former life. When I came back to the van, things hadn't improved. Letitia was the most vocal and dramatic. In her grief, I knew by the look on her face that she was deep fried in love with Aaron and feared that something might happen to keep him from coming to Huntsville as planned. Aaron kept reassuring her while he loaded her 2 large suitcases and cosmetic case. "Dumpling, calm down. I'll be there in a week. Remember, you promised to find me an apartment in Madison near the Redstone Arsenal." Kat was the one that worried me. Though her misery wasn't dramatic like Letitia's, in her it was palpable. Kat's loss seemed to ooze from her pores, silent but visible. It was evident by his furrowed brow that Dawn understood the depth of her feelings, but didn't quite know how to ease either of their misery. When she hugged Dawn for the final time, it was like she was trying to absorb his very essence. To my surprise, even Gina cried while hugging Chris. Kat handed me her keys and squeezed my hand. "Please drive." I drove away with my friends' faces pressed to the glass while they waved, but I didn't look back at the men they left behind. Kat, who was sitting behind me, broke into sobs as I crossed the first bridge over the intercoastal waterway. Letitia boo-hooed in the seat next to me, and I even heard a sniffle from Gina. For the first 10 miles of the trip, the tissue box passed back and forth from the front to the back of the van. Gina gained control of her emotions first. "I'm going to miss Chris. He seemed to understand my need for independence and didn't want to squash me in a box." Surprised, I glanced over my shoulder. That was the first time she hadn't tacked Guy after his name. Maybe Chris will be stationed at Redstone someday. Can't hurt to stay in touch. "Ladies, I'm in love. I don't think I can live without that giant hunk of a man." Letitia sniffed and wiped her nose with the tissue. "Oh, I don't think you need to worry," I laughed. "He's smitten." Gina shifted in her seat to better see me. "Do you think so?" "Oh, yeah, I'm sure. Your parents are going to love him. That only leaves Dante. I hope they don't have a battle of the testosterone. I'll talk to Dante when I get home." "Kat, are you all right back there?" I glanced at her in the rearview mirror. "No." Her voice sounded hollow. Letitia shifted to look over her shoulder into the back seat. "You're in love too, aren't you?" I glanced in the mirror and saw Kat nod. "Does he love you?" asked Gina. "He says he does." Sounding impatient, Gina asked, "Then what's the problem?" There was a prolonged silence before Kat answered. "Logistics. Don's retired. I'm sure he doesn't want to raise Jack." "Whoa, did Did you ask him, or are you assuming this? I glanced in the mirror and saw her frown. I guess I assumed that, but I can't leave my family. Huntsville's my home, and Jack's friends are there. He's just started at Grissom, and he already loves the marching band. He's playing the trumpet this year. Letitia pointed out, Fort Walton Beach isn't Don's home. True, but it's where he's always wanted to live. Do the two of you plan to stay in touch? Letitia asked. Yes, but long-distance relationships don't work out. Then there are my parents. They want me to marry a traditional Chinese man. What's your problem with Chinese men? Asked Gina. I've never quite understood your reaction to them. I'd always assumed it was a rebellious thing when we were younger. They're control freaks with little dicks. Kat removed her glasses and wiped her eyes with a tissue. We all burst out laughing. I laughed so hard I swerved and had to get back in my lane. I said, I met some nice Chinese men and most of them didn't seem controlling. I can't speak about the size of their, ding-dongs, supplied Letitia. Speaking of urinary devices, can we make a pit stop? I glanced over at her. She grinned, which emphasized the puffiness of her tear-stained round face. I announced, I need some Java, as I pulled over at a Hardee's in the first town we encountered. Gina picked up the driving, so I slid into the back seat next to Kat. I reached over and squeezed her hand. She gave me a wan smile. Pulling her glasses from her puffy face, she used her shirt to clean the wet lenses. Entwining my fingers in my long hair, I pulled it up and held it off my sweaty neck. I sighed. It's hard to believe a vacation that started with so much fun can end with so much heartache. Amen, Letitia sang out, as if she was in church. It's better to have loved and lost than to never have loved at all, or something like that. Who said that anyway? Gina glanced over at Letitia. Alfred Lloyd Tennyson. When did you get all fancy pants on me and start waxing poetic by quoting Tennyson? Letitia heaved a sigh. I guess when you fall in love, it does strange things to you. Gina spared a quick glance over her shoulder at me. I feel bad for you, Phoenix. Me? I leaned forward to hear better. Yeah, you. Letitia meets the love of her life, and Aaron's going to join her in Huntsville. Hallelujah, said Letitia. I meet Chris and have a wonderful time. Who knows, we may hook up in the future. Gina's gaze stayed glued to the road. Praise Jesus, yelled Letitia. The rest of us jumped. Geez, Letitia, this isn't a tent revival, you know, grumbled Kat. Sorry, I forgot you're a Buddhist and not a normal religion like the rest of us. Gina and I both sucked in air. I turned to look at Kat, who sat stiff as uncooked lasagna noodles. She pushed her glasses up before she spoke. Letitia, I realize in the Bible Belt of the South, Buddhism may not seem normal to you. In many parts of the world, Buddhism is the primary religion, and Christianity is considered abnormal. Believe it or not, there are approximately 530 million Buddhists in the world. That's a lot, Letitia squirmed in her seat. I'm sorry, Kat. I didn't mean to say Buddhists aren't normal. Your families are the only ones I know. You know I love you like a sister. Please don't be mad at me. Kat inclined her head. I love your Southern Baptist soul, too. The tension escaped from the interior of the van like air from a tire with a nail in it, a little at a time. Gina turned on the blinker and merged onto Interstate 65 to head north. Anyway, what I was trying to say is poor Phoenix got hooked up with Colonel, what did you call him? Colonel Bossy Pants, I said. Then she meets what's his name? Mike Jansen, I interjected. Kat piped up and said, bless her heart. Then she had an allergic reaction and got grouper lips. Don't forget, said Letitia, she's the only one of us who didn't get laid. I rolled my eyes. They're making me sound so pathetic. With withering sarcasm, I said, "Y'all are doing wonders for my self-esteem." "What do you mean?" Letitia asked. "My vacation was enjoyable, so there were a few blips on the scale to perfection. Stop making my adventure seem so pitiful just because it wasn't like yours. I wasn't looking to find a man and have been working to free myself from one. I do believe I've succeeded." The moment the words left my mouth, I knew they were true. The divas were silent for a moment. Then Gina said, "Hear, hear." After we had made it through Montgomery, Kat turned over the driving and I moved into my normal seat behind the driver and Gina sat to my right. Kat turned on the radio and before I knew it, the music lulled me into sleep. I jerked awake to an ear-splitting combination of snores, snorts, snuffles, and whistles. Kat yelled, "Letitia, wake up!" I heard a wheeze and a snuffle, and the snoring started in earnest again. Gina covered her mouth and yawned. "That sounds like a cross between a hog and a chainsaw. Is she all right?" Kat reached over and shoved Letitia. "Wake up!" "What? Where are we? What's wrong?" I giggled. "Your snoring was about to vibrate the van off the road." "Heck, I thought we were having an earthquake in the middle of a tornado," said Gina. Letitia wiggled to an upright position. "I don't snore." The rest of us yelled, "Yes, you do." Kat added, "You need to take this seriously, Letitia. Sleep apnea is a killer, and it can cause you to feel tired all the time. And make you gain weight," I added. Letitia crossed her arms. "I don't have that sleep whatever you said. I don't snore." Gina and I looked at each other and shook our heads. I knew this wasn't the end of the matter, but it was the end for this day. When we passed the Priceville exit, I knew our hometown was close. Letitia yawned. "I can't wait to see Dante and show him his new pirate game." Gina stretched. "I can't wait to unpack my suitcase and take a long hot bath in my oh-so-deep tub. When I get home, I'm going to sleep slap dab in the middle of my king-sized bed," I said with determined tone. "No more clinging to one side like the other one still belongs to Tom. The entire bed is mine." "You go, girl," Letitia said. Clouds formed in rolling bands to the west, and the winds that preceded the incoming storm buffeted the van. Kat offered no comment as she slowed to drive over the large bridge that crossed the Tennessee River. I watched those threatening clouds with a sense of peace. For the first time since I heard those fatal words, "I want a divorce," I was grateful that Todd had ended our marriage. I was free to make decisions without having to argue my position and to do what I damn well pleased. With a satisfied sigh, I thought, maybe single life won't be so bad after all. The end. If you're interested, Hot Flash Divas is available on Amazon and some bookstores as both in ebook and in paperback. The sequel is Hot Flash Desires, and this one is a hoot. It is about Phoenix learning how to do the dating game. If you're wondering about the cover, the divas haul her into Victoria's Secret to get her out of granny panties and into sexy underwear. This one is also available on Amazon in ebook and paperback. The third book in the installment, Hot Flash Decisions, is going to be really fun because Phoenix and the divas are going to take a trip to Peru. Phoenix needs to figure out what's going on with her dating life between two men, Mike and Brent. You'll learn all about Peru and whether the divas will make it back before the borders close due to the coronavirus. Have a great day. Stay well. Hopefully the third book, Hot Flash Decisions, will be out sometime in a few months. It's currently in final edits.